can anybody, you know, when we did these last month, we kind of just did them. And we didn't really stop to talk about the structure or the scansion or anything. And I know that these texts are so challenging in part because of their great density, and these structural elements are keys perhaps to understanding them better or to helping put them across. So can we talk about that a little bit? Does anybody dare to venture? I mean, is it, what is it? It's 14 lines, right?
Yes.
What do we know about those 14 lines?
We have 3 quatrains, so 3 of 4 lines each, right? Yes.
And
then
generally
a rhymed couplet.
they're usually pretty true iambic pentameter. Because I think he had the time and editor's rights to sit and beat this out until it was right. Unlike some of the text in the play where it'll do weird feminine endings and switch the rhythm around.
From fair as creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. Now that would be the first quatrain?
Yes.
Now is it because, I'm going to put you on the spot, Zach, since you seem to know a little bit about this. So you said that there's 3 quatrains.
Because in the main chunk of text we have 12 lines.
And there's an
Divided
A,
3
B,
times.
A, B rhyming structure.
And then
So it goes A, B,
what
A,
is
B,
it,
and then it
C, D,
switches.
C, D, C, D,
C, D, C,
E,
yeah.
F, E, F, G, G.
And usually the chunks of 4 lines are one thought. I've come to sort of notice that they're usually a thought, or they're thematically the same.
Well, the punctuation in
Those 4
this
lines.
particular one does get to the period at the end of every 4.
Okay.
So this one starts out true to that.
Yeah.
Number 1
Follows that one.
follows the structure.
Right, because the first section is a general statement about fair creatures and wanting to see them, you know, increase, and unfortunately they die, but hey, they're heirs, you know, keep it going. Then it switches the subject, now speaking to thou. So first it's fairest creatures in general, and then thou, you have all of this going on. And then does he, in the last quatrain, does he change it yet again?
Sorry.
It
has a contribution.
Its ornaments
It's okay,
and
but
must
it's not
only
gonna pick it
herald
up.
the gaudy spring within thine own bud bearest thy content. It is content, but it's kind of, you can't scan it that way, but I think it is content and not content. And tender churl makes waste in
Thine own
thee.
bud, very- within thine own bud, very-
We're still talking about him.
Content.
Still talking about him, but I guess he's the middle quatrain has been about, oh, you're just being too cruel, and you know what a terrible thing you're doing. But then there's sort of a more flattering note that comes in that last quatrain there around, but you compete with spring itself, and so therefore here's what you should do about it. So I guess it is kind of a shift and a development of the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then that final warning.
Is
Yeah.
the final warning the couplet?
Yes.
The couplets, a lot of times the couplets seem to be either a button, like a final, this is what I'm getting at, this is my thesis statement, or they're a, but here's the alternative.
Right.
But or
Like in the one that I
A button or a
said
button.
was about, you know, love is this and love is that and love is that. Or if it isn't, I'm just a fool and a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else want to take a crack at it?
please.
At analyzing the structure?
No, reading it.
Just reading it.
I will. Let me see. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou, contracted to thine own bright eyes, feeds thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies, thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel. Thou that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring, within thine own bud buryest thy content, and, tender churl, makest waste in niggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. You know who this is? Charlie Sheen.
His name had to be brought up. I just couldn't get away with a whole day without mentioning Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, he just got
He
fired.
did, yeah.
But
For
he
that.
has like 5 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's a finger wagger.
The greedy pig who hogged
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
own beauty.
that's right.
That's a finger wagger.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I see this guy.
Glutton.
Yeah, this is kind of like, dude, let me pull your coat. No? Okay.
Yeah. We're thinking.
We're thinking.
I can see that.
I was trying to come up with, another example.
Oh my goodness.
I don't get that.
But you know what that is? That's kind of like, because again, we're talking about how do you put these to music. Do you know what else that brings to mind? Bob Dylan. You got a lot of nerve. I wish I for just one time you could stand inside my shoes. You know what a drag it is to see you. Isn't that that? But you had a different spin.
No, not at all. I just had I actually literally am having trouble with the last couple of words. So I guess in the couplet, I'm just not tracking it all. So pity the world is like, all right, give us a break, take pity on us, make those babies. I got that. Or else this glutton be, or else be branded in the following way as a glutton. To eat the world's due, so this is the gluttonous action. You're eating what you owe the world, your offspring.
You're keeping it for yourself.
You're keeping it for yourself instead of sharing it with the world. By the grave, okay, I guess, and by the grave and thee. I guess it's the and thee. It's like by you're eating yourself by your grave. I guess I get that, but how could he be eating himself by himself? Does that make sense? What I'm saying, or am I just
To
missing it?
eat the world's due by the grave and the...
I think the way I see it is when they're saying the world's due, I'm seeing that not as the speaker saying the due meaning you, but just beauty in general, almost as if part of it is beauty is not really yours to possess. It's kind of something that's lent to you that you have to pass on. You don't really own it. So I see the world's due as beauty. You know, and you're being greedy, you'll take it to your grave, you'll just use it for yourself and never spread it along. And when really it's not really yours to keep, it's yours to pass on.
Two people are going to get the benefit of your gifts. You, because you're going to hog them, and the grave.
Yeah, instead of the world.
Okay.
Instead of the
You're
world.
keeping it and the grave will keep it, but the
Yeah.
rest of us won't have it.
Yeah.
Huh. That makes sense. I guess I don't understand the use of the word by then, but that might be a...
Well, it's
used by, like as in, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, pity the world, or else be a pig, and keep to yourself. Eat what you should be sharing to the world.
I see.
Well, what is the world's due is gonna be eaten by you and the grave. That's how.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
The eating is being done by the grave and
So
by
by
Yeah.
is attached to eat.
eat.
think that's what
But
it
it's
is.
far away
Yeah.
from me,
It's
so
like
it's
an
good.
yeah.
Keep that in your head
Well,
to get
and
from
I
leave
had-
to buy.
I had put the by as
Eat
in
and
as
buy.
in a location thing, like eating by the grave, like
Oh,
beside.
no. Yeah,
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
beside yourself.
No,
it's
no. The world's due, what should be gifted to the world, is instead going to be consumed by you selfishly and the grave.
yeah.
And so what?
Right.
Is that what you're going to do with your gifts?
Is it the strongest argument? I'm not sure.
It was his first
He's
crack
just getting
at it.
started.
He's just getting
I know.
started.
There's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, that's number one.
Well,
It's only
Start with
solid
flattery,
I.
right?
153 to go.
It's funny, he takes that subject and makes a lot more arguments.
Yes, he tries it again later in the book.
Number 2 is even bitchier. When you're 40, you'll be old and ugly.
Ouch. Wow.
So unless you have some hot children, no one's going to care about you.
well,
It's sort of like the Catullus one in a way. Reminds me
Yeah.
of the attitude
Yeah.
of it. Cool.
Oh, bite your old lips.
Yeah.
Roar.
alrighty then.
All right.